social and political commentary from a Christian male.
This is a special show. This is a special show today because we were only going to talk about the Department of Justice and their case here in Georgia. But then I thought about it. I was like, man, I want to talk about this wheelchair case, right? But because you all are here, let me see how many likes we got. We got enough likes because yesterday I dropped the ball and I did not do my Mayoral Monday episode. I don't know what I was thinking. I fell asleep at the switch. Man, we got 79 likes, man. If I could get 5 more likes, if I can get over 80, let's go with 6 more likes. If I can get 85 likes, you know what? I got a Mayoral Monday. We're going to do it hot off the press. I don't even know even know if it's good. We're going to find out together.
The mayor's landlord is taking.
So if I can get 6 more likes, y'all, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do yesterday's Mayoral Monday today, right now in these streets. What's going on, Brown Sweet? How are you doing, friend? Grace and peace to you. All right. So y'all know I've been talking about the guy, and we're gonna stick with the theme of Georgia. Okay. We had the DOJ was here in Georgia. We had the wheelchair guy that's kicking indoors. He was here in Georgia. I think the only thing that's right is we talk about Mayor Kobe here in Atlanta. Y'all remember Mayor Kobe? He was the guy, the mayor of South Fulton, Georgia, where the council rebelled against him, took all of his power away, took his keys, took his car. I think they even took his dog, right? They took everything from him. So he had no power. He lost all his power. Well, now he's decided he's not going to pay his rent. This is the craziest things. Yo, Georgia needs to be stopped. I know I used to say Atlanta must be stopped, but I think Georgia needs to be stopped. This is the trifecta of craziness. And y'all silently pray that there's nothing else that pops up, right? But this is crazy. I just literally saw this. So I don't even know what the story is. But I saw it when we got finished, like, oh, it's Kobe. Oh, that looks crazy. So we're going to do that today. Thank y'all so much for tapping in with me. This should be fun. So green hearts in the chat when you can hear. Let's go.
Him to court over unpaid rent.
So this is South Fulton Mayor Khalid Kamau. He is the mayor of South Fulton, Georgia, which of course is the most black city with a population over 100,000, coming in at around 90% black or African American. And ever since he's been elected as a BLM activist turns mayor, he has been swarmed with controversy and all sorts of problems. In fact, we first covered this man after he was arrested for breaking into somebody's property in and around the city in which he is the mayor, and he said he was doing it in order to look inside, but the homeowner actually held him up at gunpoint until police arrived, which is obviously an embarrassing situation for him.
Mayor, why were you on that property?
I just wanted to see the house. I do apologize to the owners. I thought it was abandoned.
Embattled South Fulton Mayor Khalid Kamau was arrested Saturday morning on charges he trespassed on this property on Cascade Palmetto Highway and committed first-degree burglary, which is a felony. Sources say the property owner held Kamau at gunpoint until cops arrived, but police have yet to confirm that. In his mugshot at the Fulton County Jail, he smiled big, but minutes earlier, he told Fox 5's Deidre Dukes he was sorry.
I apologize for the negative attention this has brought to our city.
His arrest is just the latest in a string of bizarre incidents in South Fulton since he took office last year.
I hope that the spotlight that is on our city right now will highlight some of the inequities that have been happening.
So you're guilty of the charges?
I think that's for the voters to decide.
However, it didn't stop there. Much like the super mayor, who, by the way, would label all this false allegations and not facts.
False allegations and not facts.
Khalid Kamau has also run into a bunch of trouble due to the fact that he appears to have spent a lot of taxpayer money going on vacation in Ghana. Again, much like Karen Bass and all these other black Democrat politicians, for whatever reason, they're constantly in Ghana to party. And I believe he was there for a month. He ran up the bills over there. And this actually caused the city council in that particular city to freeze many of the spending authorizations that he has, because the man can't be trusted. Because as we showed in that previous video, They don't have any business that connects South Fulton to the nation of Ghana.
South Fulton resident Rashad Snellings wants to know if this trip to Africa was on the city's dime.
We want to find out if taxpayers paid for this trip.
For more than 20 days, Snelling says the mayor of South Fulton, Khalid Kamau, who now goes by the name Mayor Kobe, documented his trip to Ghana on Instagram.
We should not be asked to go without something so that our elected officials can travel all over the globe.
Bank records from the mayor's city-issued credit card shows more than $25,000 spent between October and December.
Is the city of South Fulton doing any business in Africa?
Not to my knowledge. That's not even a priority.
Councilwoman Helen Willis says this week the council has been investigating the purpose of the mayor's trip and his spending.
He needs to provide an explanation to the people why he has done some of this frivolous and unapproved spending.
And by the way, based on the videos that we saw of him in Ghana, he was partying it up and not doing business, even if they had business in Ghana. So we're going to break down the latest updates in this particular story. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay.
They were surprised by this news. We did find he stays in this apartment complex that's right around the corner from City Hall. The mayor told me today in a statement that this is just another political agenda related to the his re-election campaign. In the meantime, supporters told us this is another action to discredit his name.
Yeah, so the mayor that, of course, has all these different problems in terms of government spending is on the verge of being evicted from an apartment complex, which, by the way, I find to be hilarious for a couple of reasons. One, the man cannot manage his personal finances, and that is reflected in his inability to manage the finances of South Fulton. Again, authority had to be restricted from him by the largely black city council members. And in fact, I think they're 100% black city council members, which will come into play later. But of course, this guy decided to blame evil white racism. But even funnier than that is the fact that the neighbors that live in the complex with him had no idea that they were living in the same apartment complex as the mayor. Again, this guy is supposed to be the public face of this particular city, and he doesn't communicate with his neighbors at all.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even know he lived here.
South Fulton renters say they were surprised to learn their neighbor, Mayor Khalid Kamau, is in jeopardy of being evicted from this apartment complex.
You can't trust someone who can't keep up their own finance and their own life to run the city.
It has nothing to do with his function as a public official. That's really his private life.
So obviously, we're going to get to the rent that is owed by Mayor Khalid Kamau that he is about to be evicted over in a moment. But if you think I'm just going to ignore this guy's mustache right here, this very aggressive in-your-face mustache, and not take time out of this particular video to highlight the size and scope of that mustache, then you're absolutely crazy. Let us all take a moment to realize that this is what this man wears on his face. Everybody got it? You absorbed it? Now let's get back to the story.
Fulton County Court documents show a summons was given to the mayor on March 19th for $1,663 owed for back rent for the month of March. I reached out to the mayor on Tuesday. He told me in a statement, quote, "I represent over 200 million Americans for whom an unexpected expense of $1,000 can mean financial catastrophe."
Okay, so the mayor of South Fulton owes about $1,600 in backed rent, which does not seem like it's a lot for him to owe, but you have to understand that according to him, this just makes him representative of the 200 million Americans who are $1,000 away from an emergency completely devastating their lives. Now, I'll just point out a couple of things. First and foremost, the original stat that we were talking about that he's referencing said that 40% of Americans would be done by a $1,000 emergency. Now, again, we will get into the details of that a little bit later, but this is 40% of working Americans, not every American. We're not talking about children and whatnot. So this would be a significantly lower number than, of course, 200 million, because again, that's almost 2/3 of the nation's population. That's like 66% total, not factoring out the children and all the people who wouldn't qualify for this survey. In addition to that, one of the things that we also discovered when we look into the data from the Federal Reserve is that these people didn't say that they couldn't afford a $1,000 emergency. They said that they wouldn't use their checking or checking account equivalent to pay a surprise bill of $1,000, not necessarily an emergency. And one of the reasons why we know that they weren't thinking of an emergency when they were asked this question is that the number one reason people who had the money said that they would pay it a different way is because they were worried about an emergency. So not having enough money to pay for an emergency because you're saving for an emergency doesn't make any sense. So just to be clear, that survey that he's referencing, he has the math completely wrong. And of course, the survey is completely wrong. But again, we're talking about $1,600 that this man owes.
One of the things all South Fulton residents are tired of is, wow, we're on the news again for a scandal or some bad story.
In February, council members voted to freeze the mayor's budget and limit his authority after allegations he used taxpayer money for unauthorized international trips and purchases for his office.
This apartment area is nice, but I just didn't think he would live in a place like that.
So yeah, as you can see right there, they froze a bunch of his assets because he spent over $32,000 on vacation in the nation of Ghana when the South Fulton city does not have any business with the nation of Ghana. But also what is not really being covered in this particular story is the fact that there's another thing that actually impacts whether or not he could pay his rent, and it is not the regular standard ordinary emergency that you or I might engage with and might have trouble with. It's actually his own incompetence, because like the super mayor, Khalid Kamau decided to spend $5,000 of taxpayer money on a mural, on a thing for his office, and the city actually refused to pay it. But in fact, they actually took it one step further and decided that they were going to garnish the $5,000 worth for this mural from the paycheck of their mayor. And considering the pay for the position of South Fulton mayor is $47,000, which does not seem like a lot, a $5,000 garnishment is a big deal. But make no mistake about it, that garnishment is on Khalid Kamau. He is the one who decided to misappropriate taxpayer funds. The city council is just holding him accountable. So the idea that this is a political eviction, no, it absolutely isn't. He's not paying his rent. He chose to get a dumbass mural on the taxpayer dime that was non-refundable, and the city councilors actually representing the other taxpayers decided to get the money back from him, which I can respect.
We'll get paid.
But Jose Jimenez, owner of Alpha Graphics in East Point, says the mayor never made good on this invoice for more than $5,000.
The office wanted the mural installed ahead of some event I do not know.
Channel 2 was at that event where the mayor showed the mural.
We are in the business of making sure that we're not harming small businesses.
Councilwoman Carmelithia Gum says the council was given authorization to unfreeze the mayor's budget to pay this invoice.
The mayor decided to do it off a handshake. And that's not how we do business in local government.
Now, obviously, you have to see the mural, and what you find out is it's just a map of the world. He spent $5,200 to get a mural of a map of the world, which, by the way, has Africa in the center. Don't think I didn't notice that, on his wall. And I got to give credit to the city council in South Fulton, because they were not having it. I mean, we talked a lot about these other corrupt places where the city council is in on the corruption. They don't appear to be messing around right here. And they forced this guy to pay back that $5,200, even though that's what's leading to him getting evicted. It's just amazing. It's impressive. You got to love it.
$5,280.
I like her.
Tuesday night, City of South Fulton council members said Mayor Khalid Kamau must pay thousands of dollars back for this mural.
This will be paid from the mayor's budget and garnished from his wages.
And again, notice all the representatives that they're cutting to are all black. So the idea that this is a racial war against him is absurd from top to bottom.
Who needs to know? It's not affecting the function of the government. And, at a time when there are a lot of people in America facing eviction, it's very expensive to live in America right now.
Also, I will point out that I started off in the open of this video by telling you that the South Fulton demographics are 90+% black African American. They quite literally found the one white guy in South Fulton in order to, tell you how much they don't like Khalid Kamau, which is honestly going to lead him to calling everything evil white racism, which, by the way, he's doing, despite the fact that, guess what? Everybody, or virtually everybody on the city council that works in the government and is a resident of this city, is a black person.
I think the money is being spent educational. I'm amazed.
I've spoken with supporters of the mayor who say recent attempts to discredit him are politically motivated.
I think the mayor gets some unjust criticism.
The mayor's position is the part-time position that pays roughly $47,000 a year. Mayor Kamau went on to say in his statement, "I wasn't expecting to need a legal team when I announced my re-election plans in January, but I guess that's the way the political game is played now."
Now, I do find it funny whenever they interview supporters of these corrupt politicians that these people are just bumbling, absolute idiots that never make any coherent points. And again, I talked about how the $47,000 salary for the mayor is particularly low, but make no mistake about it, this position is actually supposed to be a part-time position, so he is allowed to find other work in order to supplement his income. So again, he's not starving based on that. And by the way, Khalid Kamau has actually pushed for it to be raised to $85,000, again claiming it's evil, white, and racism to only pay him $47,000 to steal from the taxpayer for this part-time position.
And while this position is a part-time job, as the role of mayor, we did find the mayor does not have another job to supplement that income. Now, Marshal's office told us that this is just the beginning of the eviction process. At this time, a judge has not officially signed off to execute an eviction at his unit here at this property.
Mayor Kobe's time in office has been contentious from the beginning. During his inauguration, for example, the mayor called on the city manager, clerk, and attorney to resign. Tensions escalated further when he used his city credit card to pay for a TikTok dance video to celebrate the city's anniversary. Police arrested the mayor in July of 2023 and charged him with trespassing of a local lake home. Then last fall, Mayor Kobe upset taxpayers when he requested his pay double. In February, city council members stripped his privileges and restricted building access over accusations he used taxpayer money on international trips and lavish office furniture. A month later, the mayor had his paycheck garnished to pay for a $5,000 mural installed in his office.
You see right there, the local news is pointing out that it is not normal. It's not ordinary for this mayor of South Fulton to not have an additional job. But then what made me laugh is that they went over a couple of different things that the mayor did since taking office. And obviously, this guy is not making any friends, not making good decisions, and has survived scandal after scandal up until the point where he's likely to be voted out by the residents of this particular city. And I just want to also say that this guy billed himself as the first BLM mayor of a major city, and he really did live up to that billing, stealing just like regular ordinary Black Lives Matter organizers did do from the people that ended up putting them in that position. Now look, of course, I want to know what you guys think about all this down in the comments below. What do you think about Khalid Kamau, or Mayor Kobe as he calls himself, and him running and winning the first time as the first Black Lives Matter mayor? And what do you think about his chances running for re-election? Again, all your thoughts down in the comments below. As per usual, if you like the video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on the social medias, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about another trash mayor. Till next time.
All right. Shout out to Mayor Kobe messing it up. I want to say thank y'all so much for rocking with me. I really appreciate it. Thank you again, everybody. And until next time, grace and peace. See you soon.